'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where you ought to be. And when you find yourself tired, to be alive.
There's a spirit in trees that's very deep. And in order to produce a fine piece of furniture, the spirit of a tree lives on. And I can give it a second life. Because I can make an object that lives and can live forever, possibly.
Dad really believed that there are spirits in the wood that enhance people's lives. And not everybody can live in the woods, but they can live with wood and stay connected to nature and to the divine in that way.
George Nakashima is one of the formative designers of the 20th century. He was influenced by traditional Japanese design, by American shaker design and country design. So there are influences, but he took these things and combined them in a way that nobody had ever done before.
Maybe 10, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I guess my dad was my primary mentor, although when I grew up with him, I didn't think he was anything but Dad or that he was doing anything unusual that dads didn't do.
I was born in Spokane, Washington. I've lived almost every place else, such as France and Japan, and then India.
His first training at University of Washington was in forestry, and after 2 years, he switched to architecture. In 1940, my father made up his mind that he would do furniture because he could control the process from the beginning to the end. To this day, it's probably a little more control than we need to have because we actually go out and look at trees. These are all ours?
Yeah, these are all your trees. I'm looking forward to cutting them, sort of.
We actually decide right on site how we're going to cut them. It's amazing because you never know what's going to be inside there till you get there. Dad used to take me along to the lumber yard and he'd say, well, when you cut a tree, it's like cutting diamonds. And we'll cut it this way because the grain's more beautiful that way. Wow!
Oh, wow, look at that.
Beautiful.
I was in Tokyo, and I met a young lady there, and we returned to this country, and we became married. And then war broke out, Pearl Harbor. And one of the results was that we were put into concentration camps, about which most Americans didn't know anything.
In the camp, Dad would teach this fellow woodworker how to design things, and the fellow would teach him how to make things. So they developed inventive ways of using the old army cots and scrap materials. I still have the toy box that he made for me when I was in camp.
Coming down. Go for it.
Art has to be beautiful. Craft implies, in my father's definition, that it should be something that's practical and useful in life. When Dad first had his show at the American Craft Museum, it was the first time it was exhibited as if it were works of art. Up until then, it had just been furniture.
George is really identified with the concept of the naturalistic top laid on top of a very architectural base. It's both natural and man-made simultaneously.
Yeah, I worked with George for 17 years or so. One of the approaches that George took was looking for the soul of the tree. It means that the woodworker has to not impose his own thoughts on the tree. But the tree is given a chance to come forth with its story, and in that dialogue, convey something to the woodworker.
I was pretty much the understudy. He never told me the way to do things. He would just change a line. He wouldn't tell me why he changed the line. And I can't count the number of times I was fired while Dad was alive. It was very good discipline. In 1984, he came across an enormous walnut log, and he had this dream to make peace altars for each of the continents of the world.
Yeah, that's good.
Pretty flat.
No twist.
No twist.
He thought if people had an altar where they could resolve their differences, that we would be that much closer to world peace. He made the first altar, which was installed at the Cathedral St. John the Divine in 1986. He was trying to negotiate sending a peace altar to Russia when he passed away in 1990. I hope we can find something else that matches, otherwise I think I got it. The reason we built this shed is that when Dad passed away, there was a huge stack of lumber sitting out in the rain, and we had nowhere to put it.
Nice smaller board from that.
So I thought momentarily of maybe selling it at that point. Pretty. And then we thought, well, you know, that's Dad's last legacy. Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's got some nice color coming through.
After the log is cut, it has to air dry for at least a year to 2 years just to stabilize itself.
Once they're dried, select them for each particular job that we do. And it's a long process.
Mira Nakashima is really the only true heir to the Nakashima legacy. Mira is now functioning in exactly the same way that George did, making decisions about how to cut the board,
Get rid of those corners a little bit.
where to put the legs, where to put the butterflies. She's the only person who is designing in the Nakashima style. Her work is somewhat different than her father's work. What that means really is the pieces that are coming out of the studio today are Mira Nakashima pieces.
I just sort of picked up the pieces where Dad let them fall and have tried to continue his tradition and explore it a little further. In India, they believe that beauty is man's connection to the divine. Dad's whole operation here has been, he called it his karma yoga, his way of being, which is a form of meditation. Some people get it, some people don't. But I hope that that tradition can continue somehow because it's very meaningful, it's very important in our world today.
And if we end up with something that pleases us and pleases others, we feel that the destiny of a piece of wood has been fulfilled.